Today, on the first episode of No Fear or Favor, we will shine a spotlight on a legislative proposal that we're supporting that seeks to provide funding for crime survivor support services. And we'll also answer the question raised by legislators, does this proposal have too much equity? Hello, I'm Jamel Lundy, the Intergovernmental Relations Manager for the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, fancy word for lobbyists. I served in Minnesota House of Representatives for almost 10 years. Hennepin County is the largest county in the state of Minnesota, and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office handles almost half of the state's criminal prosecutions. Follow me as I follow the action at the Capitol with No Fear or Favor. Last week during the first week of session, the Minnesota House Public Safety Committee and the Minnesota Senate Judiciary Committee heard a bill that would provide $20 million of appropriations for the statewide victims coalitions and their member organizations to give services directly to victims.
We need robust and long-term investments in crime victim services in our state, and we need it urgently.
As of now, I know of at least one domestic violence shelter that's closed because of their funding issues.
Domestic violence is one of the 5 key reasons Minnesotans experience homelessness. This is particularly critical for Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color. How will individuals and communities escape and heal from violence without these resources? More importantly, how will they prevent future violence?
In Anoka County, we have one domestic violence shelter, and it is notoriously underfunded.
Crime victim services are at a crisis point in Minnesota.
This funding is badly needed because of a shortfall caused by a gap in federal funding.
Last year we did fund, we did an increase to the base. One of the problems that's going on right now is the federal funds. It's called VOCA funding. That funding, it has stopped or decreased. I was hoping that the feds would start picking that up again, and it doesn't look like they're going to do that anytime soon.
You would think such a proposal would enjoy unanimous support, both bodies and both sides of the aisle. Unfortunately, the minority lead of the Public Safety Committee in the House of Representatives had some concerns about the bill's emphasis on ensuring equity and inclusion.
Federal funding was cut. Unless I'm unaware of something, I don't believe that the federal cut was disproportionate to people of color. I've never once asked the color of the victim when I went to a domestic call. I would suspect anyone else on this side that has gone to a domestic call asked the color of the victim. Everything after line 1.14 survivors, where it starts with services, take the rest of it out. We're a solid green, I'll go to the bank for you.
Centering culturally specific services is crucial to allowing people to heal to the fullest extent. One example I'd like to give is that in our 2022 stats, almost 2,100 Black participants in shelter programs, whereas we only had 1,324 participants from the white community. So we actually had more Black people show up to our shelter programs than we did white people in a state where there's vastly more white people than there are Black people. Starting to sort of emphasize those cultural connections that a person might have and that cultural context that they might be coming from in the service that they enter into is going to help them in their healing journey. We hear all the time from people who say that they feel safer and more supported when they're allowed to be in a space with people with the same background as them. And this extends not just to race, it also extends to religion, it extends to sexuality, and it extends to other factors that play into a person's context. And any programming that we can try and put forth to meet someone within their context is going to help them begin their healing in a better, more productive way.
Last year, we made an effort to testify in favor of this bill. This year, we signed on to the letter along with the Full County Attorneys Association, along with hosting a Victims Advocacy Summit for victims advocates within Hennepin County. I guess my question is for you is how can folks get involved and help support this bill's passage?
One of the main things you can do is no matter where you live, reach out to whoever represents you and tell them that you would like this to pass. You want these crucial services in your community. I represent the Coalition Against Relationship Abuse, and so I'm really here to try and help people who are trying to escape abusive relationships. However, this bill also funds people who are trying to escape or heal from sexual assault, people who are victims of general crime, children victims of crime, specific programming for Indigenous victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. This supports that whole network of things, as a lot of that programming is going to get diminished if this funding isn't approved.
If you want to learn more about this piece of legislation being carried by Chair Moeller and Senator Gustafson, look below. If you'd like to figure out a way to support them, there's a link to figuring out where your legislator is. Feel free to contact them. Thank you for coming to the inaugural episode of No Fear or Favor. See you all next week.